what the Church of Scientology is so afraid of.
This is SPTV.
Welcome back, everybody, for a little bit more SPTV. Hope you're all having a fine Thursday afternoon, or I guess it's getting a little close to evening. Guys, we're talking tonight about another example of how Scientology done messed up every single time Scientology tries to deceive the courts about what Scientologists actually believe, what Scientology policy actually says. It comes back to bite them in the butt. Now, guys, one thing that came up as a main issue in the Danny Masterson trial is the fact that Scientologists are strictly prohibited, as a matter of concrete Scientology policy, from ever reporting another Scientologist to the police. No matter how many lawsuits or investigations into Scientology bring up the fact and show examples and quotes from L. Ron Hubbard policy of how Scientologists are forbidden from reporting each other to the civil authorities, Scientology continues to deny that this is a Scientology policy. Very rarely do we have an actual written example of an internal Scientology report that confirms this policy. And this evening, I want to share one such report with you that has been shared with me. This report was written on a Scientologist named David Greenbaum. If you're a Scientologist in Clearwater, you know who David Greenbaum is. Everyone in Scientology in Clearwater knows who David Greenbaum is. It is this dude right here. He owns two successful companies called Axiom and Link Tech. They both have to do with computer stuff that I've never fully understood what exactly his software products do. There are multiple David Greenbaums. If you search David Greenbaum CEO, there's many of them. And I didn't want there to be any mistake about which one is a Scientologist and which one today's report is on. Okay, here we have a knowledge report written on David Greenbaum. This is dipping into the archives. This is from 1998. But any Scientologist looking at this report will recognize it as being just as applicable today as it was back then. This report was written by a Scientologist named Gene Brazel. I'm not sure if it's pronounced Jean or Gene, but I'm going with Gene for now. At the top, you can see the routing here, PMAA, the public MAA, the public ethics officer for the FLAG AO, the FLAG Advanced Organization, the Scientology organization in Clearwater, Florida. They call their base FLAG. The Advanced Organization is where they deliver the confidential upper OT levels, where you learn about Xenu and the body thetans and all this good stuff. A copy of the report was sent to the CS at AO1 in the Advanced Org, which is in a building called the Sandcastle. There's more than one, you might call them auditing centers. And this is just being sent to the first one. Okay, I guess at the time, David was married to a woman named Destin Greenbaum. I did not know Destin. I think David's been married 2 or 3 times since then. So this report is written on Dave, being written by Gene, sent to the public ethics officer at FLAG, with a copy to his wife, Destin, and a copy being sent to the case supervisor for the AO1, the Advanced Org HGC number 1. All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this sucker. And this is, remember, this is being written from Gene's point of view. For the past 4 years, I've been a state certified family mediator. My certificate is signed by the Chief Justice of the Florida State Supreme Court. In that capacity, I have handled many mediations during that time, both with Scientologists and non-Scientologists, in the courts and also privately. As a mediator, I work with parties to help them come to amiable mutual agreements. Naturally, I'm using Scientology as I do in my life. She says the ARC triangle, etc. I do it as a profession and have chosen this profession so I can help people in their time of travail and need. I also FSM extensively, doing many recoveries in orgs. FSM here is being used as a verb. To understand the verb, let's define the noun. An FSM is a field staff member. A field means the area around an org. A staff member means someone who works for Scientology. A field staff member doesn't technically work for Scientology, which is why they're given a special name called a field staff member. Basically, an FSM is a Scientologist, a public Scientologist, not a staff member, not a Sea Org member. An FSM is a public Scientologist who makes money by bringing people into Scientology and, being their little personal Scientology mentor, encouraging them to take their next step and take their next step. And they get like a 10, 15% commission on any dollar that person pays to Scientology for coursework, for auditing, for straight donations. I think it's fascinating that Jean here is admitting she uses her job as a mediator to FSM. Well, she doesn't specifically say I FSM my clients, but I also FSM extensively, doing many recoveries in orgs. All right. I also work with the Chaplain FSO as a family mediator. Now, I know in a normal church or a normal religion, a chaplain is like the minister, the priest, whatever. Guys, I grew up in a cult. I got a minimal understanding of this. In a Scientology organization, the chaplain is the post title of the person in the org whose job is to handle upset people that nobody else wants to deal with. It's funny because Scientology says that its auditors are like ministers and pastoral counselors, but they don't even call their auditors chaplains. A chaplain is a post that usually doesn't even exist in an org, because this post doesn't make much money for the organization. It really doesn't make any money for the organization usually. And so that's why this is going to the chaplain, is because this is dealing with a divorce proceeding and nobody really wants to deal with the divorce stuff. So it gets handled by the chaplain. Okay. I also work with the Chaplain FSO. The FSO is Flag Service Organization, FLAG. That is the Scientology organization in Clearwater, Florida. I also work with the Chaplain FSO as a family mediator. I have had 100% results in all of the mediations I have done, working with the parties to come to amiable agreements. Recently, I've been conducting a mediation with David Greenbaum and his wife, Destin. During the last mediation session, David became violent and threw over the table we were sitting at, hitting his wife, Destin, in the arm and injuring her. Jesus. Everything on the table was scattered all over. A pitcher of water was thrown on the rug, and the rug got soaked. It took me 3 days to get it dry, applying towels continually. Prior to this, he had been verbally abusive a number of times, both to me and to his wife, Destin, screaming loudly. This violent action was sudden and unprovoked and very startling. In all of the years I've been mediating, this was the only negative physical action that has ever taken place. This was not okay to do, in case anybody needed a reminder. After this occurred, I spoke to David alone and told him I would have to report this to ethics. Now, guys, I'm just going to jump in the middle of this sentence. I am struck by the fact that as a mediator, let me see, she used state certified family mediator. She basically commingles the business that she's supposed to be doing for the courts and for the state, and commingles it with Scientology and applies rules selectively to different people, depending on whether they're Scientologists or not. I'm not sure that's how you're supposed to do this job. Okay, but let's take a look at this. Okay, I spoke to David alone and told him I would have to report this to ethics. And he then threatened to turn me in, quote unquote, to the court authorities to have my license revoked. This indeed would be a suppressive act to do so. It put me in fear of him, and I subsequently got ill, both from the threat and from the sudden violent act. I am handling it in a solo knot session using the tools. Solo knots is a Scientology acronym for OT7, Operating Thetan Level 7, the second to highest auditing level that a Scientologist can do. On OT7, one is expected to go into a little locked room 6 times a day with a Scientology e-meter, looks like a little lie detector, with a Scientology e-meter, and telepathically deliver spiritual counseling to the disembodied alien souls that L. Ron Hubbard says are stuck to your body and stuck in the environment and are the cause of everything that is wrong with you after you've gotten rid of your own reactive mind. In Scientology, your reactive mind is Hubbard's version of like the Freudian subconscious. And when you get rid of your reactive mind in Scientology, that's called achieving the state of clear. You then learn that now that you've gotten rid of your own reactive mind, you have tens of thousands of like half dead alien, disembodied alien souls stuck to your body, and you've got to get rid of their reactive minds. So when she says, don't worry, I'm taking care of it on solo knot sessions using the tools, she's referring to the fact that David's violent outburst didn't upset her so much as it upset body thetans in her environment. And she's having, and those upset body thetans are having an impact on her own physical health. She's having to counsel the body thetans in order to improve her own health. You can't make this shit up, guys. Okay. Now she continues on. Legally, as a mediator, I'm supposed to report any crimes that occur. As a Scientologist, I will not do so, as it violates suppressive acts against other Scientologists. So I am reporting it per policy. She says, so I'm reporting it to Scientology per policy. When she says, as a Scientologist, I will not do so, as it violates suppressive acts against other Scientologists, she is sort of casually referring to an L. Ron Hubbard policy letter called, it's something like high crimes, suppressive acts, suppression of Scientologists. It's been a lot of years, guys. I'm going to get it wrong. But that little phrase there, it violates suppressive acts against other Scientologists. She's quoting the name of the actual policy letter that it would violate to report David Greenbaum to the civil authorities. And by the way, as a little Scientologist growing up, I thought that civil authorities meant something different than the criminal authorities. But when I looked up the definition of what civil authorities mean, because that's what the policy letter says in Scientology, you cannot report anyone to the civil authorities. The police are the civil authorities. I had a misunderstanding that civil was as contrasted to criminal, but I believe in this context, it's really civil as opposed to like military. Civilian authorities. Okay, so anyway, let's get back onto this. Okay, David has also violated Florida State Statute 61 on family matters by trying to coerce his wife into an agreement by moving someone into the house they and their son share without their permission. David moved this person into his son's room, displacing his son. His son asked his father not to do that, and I heard him say that, showing his upset. I urged David not to do that, knowing that this action would only add fuel to the fire and provoke more anger, to no avail. Until this happened, we were making some progress. Following this action, his wife was further cowed and things slowed down considerably. I guess this is sort of a cover sheet of sorts. Mediation divorce, David and Destin Greenbaum. Regarding the mediation conference held between the parties, Destin and David Greenbaum, agreement could not be reached regarding the divorce settlement. Therefore, on this date, the 28th day of August, 98, an impasse has been declared. Jean Brazel. What's incredible is that she outright admits in writing that she is not going to follow the laws that govern her own conduct of her own job, because abiding by the laws of the land would violate the laws of Scientology. And this is just a perfect piece of evidence that when a Scientologist has to choose between following Scientology law or following the laws of the land, they will follow Scientology law even if it violates the laws of the land. That is why Scientologists cannot be trusted to testify under oath. That is why declarations of Scientologists completed under oath and submitted to the courts cannot be taken at face value, because Scientologists will always, always, always protect Scientology and Scientologists over following the laws of the land. I've got to read this section just one more time. Okay, here it is. Legally, as a mediator, I am supposed to report any crimes that occur. As a Scientologist, I will not do so, as it violates suppressive acts against other Scientologists. So I am reporting it per policy. David has also violated Florida Statute 61, and then she details what the violation was. There's two actual crimes David Greenbaum committed that this OT7 Scientologist mediator said, I'm not going to report these the way the law says that I should. He committed a physical act of assault against his wife right there in the mediation session. And then he also violated Florida statutes by basically moving someone into the house against the rules. Thank you to the reader who sent this to me. I won't say anyone's name out loud. Thank you, Martin. Thank you, Martin, for sending this to me. Apparently, Martin himself has posted this document on the internet like years and years and years and years ago. But anyway, thank you, Martin, for bringing it to my attention. And guys, any of the internet, all of you internet sleuths out there, if you come into contact or you find, even if it's already been online, other such documents that just give crystal clear evidence in Scientologists' own words that they know damn well they're not allowed to report a Scientologist to the authorities or to the police. And so they're not going to. Please bring it to my attention. I'd be so much more than happy to do video after video after video on this. That's it. That's it on this one, guys. I do have a bunch more videos I want to do. It's already 5:30, but we'll see. The night is young. It is Thursday. Okay. LOPNC1. Can we have an honorary SP t-shirt with the Scientology symbol cracked in half? I think I do have some honorary SP t-shirts coming up in the merch store. I've been really lazy on getting these items uploaded to the merch store, but I do have something like that coming. So stay tuned. Let's see. Hannah Kane. Hi, love your channel. Watch it daily. I'm curious. Is there any chance Shelly Miscavige will be called to testify in Leah's lawsuit? Thank you for the question, Hannah. To the best of my understanding, all of the activity, all of the Scientology activity that Leah is suing for is stuff that occurred after Leah left Scientology. And Shelly Miscavige was removed from post in like 2005. And my point here is that Shelly Miscavige wouldn't have been involved in any of the fair gaming, harassment, or attacks on Leah Remini that I know of. Although I wonder, I think Scientology has tried to issue some statements on Shelly's behalf, accusing Leah of stalking and harassing and all this kind of stuff. Even still, I'm not sure Shelly has anything to do with the proceedings or the complaint that Leah has filed. And so I'm going to lean in the direction of no on this one, Hannah, but I could be wrong. Thank you very, very much. Diana Marie, longtime lurker, first super chat. Thank you so much, Diana. I so want a Captain Davy of the fake space Navy, but the postage costs to Australia have killed that idea. Will you ever open a shop in Australia? Love my SPTV. Well, I will tell you what, Diana, I have some extra little Captain Davies of the fake space Navy. And if you will email me your address in Australia, I will send you one. I do not have any information on opening up some separate little fulfillment center in Australia, but email me at growingupinscientology@gmail.com and I will send one to you. Thank you so much for the super chat. Selena Michelle, love my SPTV. Hit that like button. Guys, if you're one of the almost 1,400 people watching live right now, please do me a favor and hit that like button. It does actually help. And guys, YouTube is still unsubscribing people from channels wholesale across all of YouTube. So double check that subscribe button and make sure you're still subscribed. I think you'd be surprised that you might not be. All right, guys, that's all for this. Much more to come. Stay tuned. Thank you, as always, to everyone who watches until the very end, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here. Bye.